Okay, is this happening? Are we actually doing it this time? Did we defeat technology?
Technology is not our fan.
Does our internet service provider have to take a test for something right now? Do they have to get swabbed? I know that's hopefully that's not a weird joke, but that's the world we're living in. It's WrestleZone. All right, we've tried to stream now. This will be the third attempt. All right, we're trying to kick out on 3 here. Okay, so they got us for 1 and 2, but hopefully this one sticks. If you're with us live, you are enjoying the show here on Facebook, of course, maybe picking it up on YouTube, or if you're listening on demand, thank you so much. A lot of people are putting us on the charts now. I'm Kevin Kelm. I'm joined by Iridian Fierro. I was joined by Iridian Fierro for a moment. Hopefully I'm still live. I don't know. Am I still live? Is this still a thing? Hopefully it is. If you're with me and you guys can see what's going on, it's working. It's working, but it just booted out Iridian, who was with me live here. We are live after Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about everything going on with Monday Night Raw. We're going to talk about the COVID-19 situation in WWE, which has been developing over the past week or so. And as Iridian will hopefully jump back in here with me in just a second. All right, 3, 2, 1. She's going to boot back up. Technology, and this isn't great for anyone who's listening to the podcast. This can't be good, but we're powering through, and I think that's the important thing.
We are.
All right. What's up here, everybody? People tuning into the show. All right, I can see you. This is hopefully working now. We just gotta love our internet service provider. We've really complained about the service we use to stream to you guys more than a few times. But that's okay. I'm gonna touch nothing, and I'm just gonna hopefully if I blow into the microphone wrong, I think it's gonna knock us off air. But here we are. We have a lot to cover. The first 2 minutes of the podcast have not been great, but we're here, and that's the most important thing. We have a lot of things to talk about. If you're with us live, we have a new look for the WWE United States Championship. Okay, and when you change the look of a belt, it really gets people to talk. It is one of those things that is guaranteed to get people talking. Heath Slater may have gotten his job back in WWE tonight on Monday Night Raw. That was quite the thing here. And Randy Orton is still an evil snake son of a bitch. All right. Asuka has all the momentum going into Extreme Rules. You're watching this show, hopefully live. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully you're subscribed to the podcast. I was about to say this before we got interrupted there, Iridian, is did you know that apparently Cyprus has a huge wrestling fandom in the country of Cyprus, and they love themselves in WrestleZone. They've put us in the top. They put us of all the places to think that you would get listenership internationally. But thank you to everyone who's listening to the show there. A lot of new viewers checking out the show over in Australia and India, across Europe. Happy to hear about that. So thank you guys for checking out the show. And if you don't already, go ahead and subscribe. It's on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. It is on Spotify now as well. So if you're streaming music, you like some new songs that come out, just slide right over and add your podcast to it. You're looking for that red WZ logo, and then you find WrestleZone. We're right there. All right, so a lot of big breaking news, but let's get into the serious stuff before we talk about tonight's Monday Night Raw, which had a lot of different things going on in it. We found out from Pro Wrestling Sheet's Ryan Satin, who did work with Fox Sports 1 on the WWE show that is no longer around backstage. They're going to do specials, by the way. All right, that was a big thing that happened last week and kind of got undershadowed by everything else. But they are going to do specials. Apparently, it's not completely gone, but he broke a big story here that more WWE workers tested positive for COVID-19. Now, we know that the number floating around was around 19 to 20. Now, the number we're hearing today is around 30. But it's worth noting that WWE hasn't confirmed this. They have not confirmed this number. We know 4 people who said it publicly on the internet: Adam Pearce, Jamie Noble, Caleb Braxton, and Renee Young. Of course, the Renee Young situation, she's married to the current AEW World Champion, so that affects Jon Moxley. But more importantly, this is a pretty serious thing here. Iridian Fierro Rest friends, as we follow this, we're hearing some serious kind of scary things here, but WWE's charging ahead.
You know what? I'm not surprised that all of these people, or it's being said that more people have COVID, because for the longest time, there was no socially distance. Everyone was breathing the same air. There was no masks on people's faces. It was not encouraged to wear a mask. So I just think there's going to be more people. I think it's going to be more than 30 people. Everyone was around each other. The testing is kind of off.
True, and it's all, but there's also a real. We don't know all the information that's out, though. We don't know if these numbers are recent for what was been airing. We don't know the exact way the shows have been taped. We kind of know the taping schedule, but those are loose. And those kind of move around. So we don't know if this is from the testing last week. We don't know if these are delayed results. So it's not clear. Another thing is WWE's doing a pretty good job of kind of telling people, don't say what your test is. Don't put it out there. All right. Hopefully you're ready and will rejoin me here. So what we know is the number that Satin says was around 30, which would be pretty alarming. And that would scare a lot of people then, and you're going to continue to test. Another number that we're hearing, and everything's about numbers, right? Another number that we're hearing is that 1,500 tests have been administered through WWE tapings in the last few weeks. 1,500. That means they're testing a lot of people when you kind of consider how many people are actually at the shows and actually working the shows. So it's a lot of different things here. People texting in. Eric Bedone saying all asymptomatic wouldn't even know if they weren't tested. Ryan D. Hall saying COVID-19 is wrestling havoc. It's a lot more havoc than just that. And Saul Sultan saying glad to see some people in the crowd wearing their masks a couple of weeks ago. Take that, Kevin Dunn. All right, so Kevin Dunn is the director. He's one of the prominent people in WWE. So some people hear his name and they kind of don't know who that is. He's like maybe the number 2, number 3 person in the company in WWE, and he kind of calls the shots, literally directs the television shows. And there's been this running theory, and it hasn't been proven. He hasn't even stated it. No one from WWE stated it, that they didn't like people wearing masks. They didn't like the look of it. That I don't know where that came from. People got that out in their heads. That became a running thing. I know Meltzer kind of alluded that they didn't like the look of masks on people in the crowd. Okay, fine. But now they're putting out a ruling that if you're going to be here, you're going to wear a mask, and that's it. And there's a series of fines if you don't do it. And here's strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. And I'm okay with that. A lot of people think this is a bad thing, these testing numbers. I will say this. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because you need to know who does and doesn't have it now. We're at this point now where I think even people that aren't showing symptoms, if you go to something, you probably should get tested. If you're going to like a lot of parties or events, or maybe if you're the office is starting to work up again, I think we're going to get to the point where you're going to be able to get a test for next to nothing if you want it. If you can get it through your insurance, a lot of people are going to start getting it now. But the fact that WWE is doing 1,500 tests,
That's
that means
crazy.
people are getting tested every time they're coming to that building then, right?
I would hope so. When WWE was declared essential, I thought that it was a great opportunity for them to like set an example. And like, I thought they were going to be doing all of these testings and socially distancing and having the face masks, and they didn't. So I guess it's better late than never at this point. Because what can you do? I mean, people who have corona at this point, they have it. So I'm just glad that they're doing it now, so it doesn't become a bigger thing.
True. And also we don't know the severity of how many people have these things. Like if they're showing symptoms, if they've, we know with Kayla Braxton, when her social media reveal, she said this is the second time she had it. And we knew of one person having it in March that was a WWE on-air talent. So a lot of people assume it was her. Didn't come out in public then. But now that those dots kind of connect, she had it twice. So also we don't know if anyone else had it before. So it's unclear as to how much WWE has been testing since the beginning of the pandemic. We know they did a round of testing sometime in late April into May, but now it seems like they're doing it every time you come in. So it also holds up the taping. I will say this, and a lot of people then jump to, what is AEW doing? AEW has said on air several times that they've tested people. Several times. If they screen them, they tested them, and here's the protocol. How much AEW is testing people, we don't know. We also did this on our most recent episode, I believe, which was Thursday into Friday. We can say that there were people at the show. They taped a second Fyter Fest. There are results on the internet. And there were people in the upper bowl, upwards of a dozen, who were not tested, who were fans, and were there. Now, mind you, they didn't have any contact in the lower bowl. Most of these people are said to be kind of like staff. They're connected with the show. So before people rush to, what about AEW. Like WWE's got hockey boards up, guys. They're going to keep doing shows. As much as people think like, oh, you should stop doing shows. I understand it. But if you're going to keep doing them, mitigate the risk as much as possible. Test as many people as you can, and do as much as you can to slow this thing down. Yeah. And it's kind of scary because you're doing this in Florida, which is one of the hottest spots in the country. They had 11,000 cases just on Sunday. 9,000, 8,000 the 2 days before that. It's kind of a scary situation because you look at what the other sports leagues are doing, and they're getting ready to do these kind of shorter seasons. Major League Baseball has dozens of cases. NBA has them as well. So I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And it's coming out with like a lot of people in the MLB that are testing positive, and it's just like they're just about to start. So are they even going to have a chance?
Yeah, especially with Major League Baseball, we're shy of just a few weeks of them coming back here. The thing is also we don't know the severity of the cases. If you got somebody who's asymptomatic and they're just the petri dish carrying the thing, yeah, you have to put that person in place here 2 weeks, probably even more, just to make sure it clears out of the system, and you have to continue to test them and go through all these different things. I wonder. I'm at this point now, just with this in general, outside of wrestling. I wrote an article, and we've worked in radio businesses in this weird space where there's a ton of people listening to us that weren't listening before. Radio knows this. Like the ratings are, everyone's listening. Ratings are way up, but no one wants to buy ads because everyone's like, well, we don't know when people are going to be able to go out and spend money on stuff, so we're going to spend money on ads. I don't know if you essentially see that on television just yet, specifically in wrestling. You're seeing a lot of Sonic ads. They want you to buy that. They want that cute kid in the backseat telling you to buy a brownie or something like that, right? And so, but we've noticed this, like, there's no concerts for them. What's our business? We're a big alternative rock radio station. What is it? And so I was going into this. I was on air this week, and I was like, I just want to think of the concerts I can go to when I can go to them, because I do think at some point science will prove a way, and I think there is a patience we kind of have to have. We have to weather the storm. I want to know.
I hate this group project. This group project that we have of everybody putting a mask on is not working.
It's a group project.
It's a group project, and this is why I've always hated.
Some people are doing all the work on this group project. We put this presentation together for our 8th grade history class, and everyone always knows that it's Todd who doesn't do anything, and he's going to show up at the presentation, and he's not going to. He's not even going to have his note cards out. He's just going to stand there and point at something on a poster. He's just going
to go and wing it. And we cannot wing it at this point. We need to follow direction. We're going to fail.
Yeah, of course, a lot of people with different stuff here. We have people texting in from Greece, loving that. A lot of people doing this. Eric Padone also bring this up. Related to COVID-19, it is confirmed. We knew this. This isn't a surprise. Eric Padone saying Boston lost SummerSlam. We have 109 cases a day. Guess it's for the best. 109 cases right now for a major city is pretty low. I can say that it's a pretty low number now, especially with the surge we had recently. You guys are in the Mid-Atlantic too, because you have a lot of people coming down from the tri-state area up from Florida too. So, but yes, we were hearing different rumblings from people that WrestleZone knew in the Boston area, and obviously sources near WWE, that they did want to do SummerSlam in the Boston area. They were trying to do that, and there was hope. Obviously the situation changed. And back in March, we were thinking we would be through with this thing hopefully by June, and obviously that is not the case. And we were in a terrible situation. Lives are being lost, or lives are being endangered. People losing their jobs and all these different things. But it is a scary situation. Yeah, we can confirm. And it's not much to go into. We knew they were going to do this. But it does make me think, what do you think of WWE potentially moving out of Florida? Things are kind of scary down there. I mean, the other spot that they own is Connecticut. And Connecticut has done Connecticut's numbers look all right now in comparison to Florida.
I mean, there was a lot of places that looked all right for a little bit, and look at them now, like Texas and Arizona and California. Like those places are being hit, and I'm just like, is it going in waves? Are people still traveling? What's happening? Illinois people are still going to Indiana for the beaches because our beaches are closed.
And so the fireworks.
Oh my God. I don't even want to talk about the fireworks.
You had a great tweet over the 4th of July holiday. There's so many more people just on your block. You guys all know this around the country in the United States. Maybe our friends up in Canada. Obviously, 4th of July holiday, big holiday in the United States. Very weird one this year. People still had parties. but they were like weird and like spread out. So what do you do when you're all spread out? Everyone buys fireworks, and usually your town has a big fireworks show that the town spends money on. Government money gets spent on fireworks. But this year they said, let's not do that because we don't want big crowds, right? So everyone went over the border. Illinois, you can't buy fireworks. They can be brought in, but you have to have like permits. A lot of people buy them illegally, and everyone's kind of like, okay, all right, fine. But you can't buy them here. So everyone goes over the border to Indiana, and it was huge amounts of money. But you had a great tweet about this. I only like fireworks when I'm scared and I'm at a wrestling show and it's pyrotechnics. And you had that awesome picture of Edge at WrestleMania 24 when he had the huge mountain of pyro that went off and all the different stuff. Yeah, the only pyro I like is in wrestling too. I agree.
Yeah.
So a lot of people with different takes on this whole COVID situation. We're following. We want to be responsible. If you're watching our show, please leave the conspiracy crap to the side. We're not going to take it. We're not going to tolerate it at this point. We're talking about human lives here. There's enough conspiracy theories in wrestling and all these different things. We're not going to have it. Let's talk about wrestling. We are following the situation with COVID-19. We do hope everyone in WWE is okay. I understand they're going to keep going. They're going to keep doing shows. SummerSlam's not happening in Boston. We're in the Performance Center. Who knows? Maybe they put it on the beach. You want to do SummerSlam on the beach? I'm okay with that. So that's where we're at. That is the situation. We have it all up right now at WrestleZone.com as it develops. We did reach out to WWE for a comment. We did not get one just yet. We did reach out to AEW for a comment. We did not get one just yet. So we have done our diligence in that. Mm-hmm. So Raw tonight, we have a pay-per-view coming up, and it will be a horror show. Extreme Rules. We're just about 2 weeks out from this show. Am I correct? It will be not this Sunday, but the Sunday following. And they have built up this show in a way that surprises me. On paper, the card they have and the storylines they have, you would say, oh, Randy Orton and Big Show again? Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre? Okay. Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio? Okay. Look, everything's just kind of like, yeah, and we're in, I wouldn't call it the malaise. A lot of people think it's kind of like a holdover show until we get to SummerSlam, but if you asked me if that pay-per-view was this Sunday, I would be a lot more into it. I thought tonight's Monday Night Raw did a lot of good job. Paul Heyman's not running the show. Bruce Pritchard is, and we're getting a lot of well-paced stuff. Nothing is long in the tooth. Your main event with Asuka and Bayley, felt like a main event, and it was built up from the early in the night to the end of the night, and you got this wild finish. They did a lot of, I will say this, there's something redundant. They did a lot of like distraction, disqualification, people get involved, no straight endings tonight. It was very annoying, kind of redundant, and I'm annoyed by that. But if the pay-per-view was this Sunday, I would be on board for the pay-per-view. I'd be like, all right, you have piqued my interest. Am I amped up? No. But I'm going to watch the show anyway? Yeah, work for WrestleZone. I got it. But what did you think of this week's Raw overall? Just kind of coming off of here. Don't give me your rating just yet. We'll dig into it a little bit. What did you think first reactions to it?
I thought it was really well paced. Sometimes you watch Monday Night Raw and you're just like, oh, I can afford to not watch this match, or I can do something else while this is happening and just kind of have it on in the background. But I felt like since the opening segment, like we got a surprise, and I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And then we kept getting like little things like that. So I was like, oh, it's really well paced. The matches were pretty good. So I felt like I had to watch it all. I didn't think that there was a bad thing on Raw tonight.
No, and for a 3-hour show, it didn't feel long in the tooth. I think it's a major thing about Raw, is it being a 3-hour show, and it has been for years now, as people say that third hour drags. I would say, and Heyman had this a little bit too, is he wouldn't let things go too long. And I don't know what happened recently. Maybe the pandemic, the no crowds, different things like that. That changes the pace of how you watch the show. But the flow of it was really good. Nothing felt too long. Everything kind of moved very quickly. They opened with Drew and Dolph, and a big return. Heath Slater. We found out about this earlier in the day, and this one was surprising. Heath Slater is one of more than a dozen superstars released just a few short weeks after WrestleMania back in April. WWE saying it was a financial thing for them to do. Other people debating whether or not they should do it. And the guy they released is a guy whose gimmick was literally saying he had to wrestle because he has children. I got kids. It's not a gimmick. Heath Slater came out with Dolph Ziggler, got into his former tag team partner's face, Drew McIntyre. They were in 3MB back in all. There was a lot of like, if you're a fan and you know this guy and you've watched WWE for the last 10 years, you know that he got let go. And he brought it up and he said, I'm on the breadline. You promised me a match if you got through. You said you would petition for me and you didn't do it. And now you need to do it. He's like, oh, come on, man. We don't need to do this. And it really just turned the tables on Drew. This is a very hard character kind of call you out type thing, and slapped him. They had a short match going into the commercial break, lays him out pretty quickly. It's a short, fun, more of an angle than a match, I would say. And Dolph Ziggler got in there, and they kind of had an emotional moment and pulled him up to his feet and still gave him respect. A lot of people said they jobbed him out, but I'm sorry, Heath Slater. If I'm backstage at WWE, I was like, Heath Slater just earned his job back. Okay, and all you young guys who didn't get let go. All right, let me say this: you're Ricochet, you're Cedric Alexander, one of those guys lower end of the card and didn't get cut. And you see what that guy did? Oh boy, he came out there and poured it out. He was cutting a promo for his family. I thought that was something special. Iridian hopefully will rejoin me here. What did you guys think of Heath Slater's big return here on Monday Night Raw? Herman Tarkasian saying he gives the show a 7.5. Michael offering it a 7. And a lot of people giving it here. Let me see. Let's see. What's this? Oh, technology. You are an Eve technology. Let's see if she can rejoin me here. For the people on the podcast, you guys must love this, huh? This must be a great thing to hear.
They experience a whole different side of WrestleZone.
Let's give it another go.
Are we back?
Yeah, I guess. You know what? I bet people listen to the podcast version of this because I'll say this because we've had so many technical issues tonight. People listen to the podcast version are getting these weird gaps in the show where with nothing going on because the way this, I can only just rip the audio recording. That's why we don't have the theme song or anything anymore. So if you were just listening to that and you fast forward, now you hear me again, you are very patient. And I am very, very thankful of you person. Just
very thankful. And you know what? But sometimes silence is what catches people's attention because they're like listening and then you hear something and you're like, what?
People complain that I have way too of a positive spin on the show. Okay. That I'm way too positive about things, but you are way too positive here. Monday Night Raw, Heath Slater's back. Does Heath Slater get his job back, Iridian? Because I think he talked his way back into a job tonight.
You know what? I was scared because
he didn't wrestle his way back into a job, but he definitely
No, he did not. He didn't win me over there. But I was like, are they pulling another Drake? Are they pulling a Drake Maverick? I was like, you know, they brought this guy was made public that he was let go and now he's brought back and all of a sudden he's going for, you know, a champion. So I was like, I can't believe that they're doing this again. But I'm not sure if it's like a one-time thing. I've been watching him on Twitter. He's getting buff. If I was WWE, I could see this guy as a champion. He's like huge now. You know, Vince.
Are you telling me Heath Slater? You're saying you're going to put the strap on Heath Slater?
I'm not okay. You don't have
Heath went off. Heath Slater.
Kevin, all right, he's got kids.
I understand he's got kids, but he's been playing a comedy
You're not going to put
the
WWE title on him. You can put another title on him.
But think about this. Of the Nexus guys, he was the only guy that stayed. That was a big crop of guys like 10 years ago. He had a long run in WWE. Not everyone gets to have a long run in WWE. Yeah. I mean, if he gets to have another good few years here and they re-sign him, that's a great, great thing, you know? And that there's some positivity coming out of that period in April when so many people lost their jobs. Yeah. And also some people lost their jobs who recently signed new deals, you know? Like
True.
Anderson and Gallows, we know it's a foregone conclusion that they will show up in Impact Wrestling in the next few weeks. We don't know when, and that they will have some dual ability to appear in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That is the word within the industry. I've heard it from enough people for me to share it with you. It's something I've already talked about on the show. Maria and Mike Kanellis, they signed deals as a couple and they got let go. So there was plenty of people releasing that, and Heath Slater was another guy. They put it out there. His gimmick was he was the redneck dad who has too many kids. He wants to buy him a pool. Like, I thought there was some funny stuff with it. And there's been times when WWE loved writing stuff for Heath Slater, and he would take the ball and run with it. And they gave him his own little thing on the digital stuff with the game show stuff. I mean, there were balls they gave him that he ran with him. He was never designed to be a headlining guy. And I think that with fans, they get this idea that if they like somebody, they don't see them on television or the way they're used, they buried him. They took him in just to bury him. Who knows? Maybe we don't see Heath Slater back. But if I'm WWE, I find a place for that guy. Something, you know what I mean? This guy put some real passion out there. WWE's all about, if we give you the opportunity, you really hit it out of the park. I don't know of a more emotionally compelling thing that I saw on TV tonight. There was some other stuff that was really good, but you felt that came off the TV with what he was saying. Hey, it's not just a gimmick. That's my life. I have kids. And you said you were going to give this to me, and I helped you. You got fired. I was there for you when you got fired. I was like, woo! And it adds more depth to Drew. Okay. I liked it. It was quite the story. If I'm WWE, I have Heath Slater at this pay-per-view. I think, I don't know how you have him there, but I would have him at this pay-per-view if they're taping something with him.
Yeah, I'd be in the back, and hopefully I'd want to, I'd re-sign him. Like, he looks great. He was a great character. He had great connections with the fans. So
his physicality looked good. I mean, it was less of a match than it was just like a short brawling thing, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, he still looked great, still moving. He never had a 5-star match, but he always had these memorable segments and different things like that. And WWE needs gaga sports entertainers. Like, they need guys like that. And he's one of those guys. So I'd love to see if he got his job back. He did a great job here. Justin Hamlin bringing up Heath versus the Legends. Yeah, they did this a few years ago when they were building up to Raw 1000. When there was weeks where he would just take on different legends that would come back that you hadn't seen on TV in like 10 years. I remember they had him versus Vader, and it was just ridiculous. And I had fun with that. Other people saying, why don't you have him in NXT? That's where guys fight and get their jobs back, apparently, is NXT. But I think he did it tonight on Raw. Other elements we saw on Monday Night Raw, we brought up Asuka and Bayley. They were in the main event. This was teased early on in the night. We saw Kairi Sane. We thought that she was going to leave WWE. Widespread reports that the Pirate Princess was gone, that she was out of the picture and she was going back to Japan. Doesn't seem like that's the case. She has been injured several times in the last 8 months. A lot of people said, oh, maybe the injury's cut up and she doesn't like it and she's out of the picture. All right. Now, who knows? Maybe her contract is up soon and she's gone. We've heard many, many different things, but I saw her on TV tonight. That's all I need to know. And I saw her have one hell of a match that ended with disqualification. All right. Bayley just didn't want her friend Sasha Banks to tap out. And they had another barn burner match. Two best matches on the show were the women really taking it. I think Sasha and Bayley have been the MVPs in terms of driving home storylines. If they told me that Bayley versus Asuka was the last match on Extreme Rules, maybe there's some other big matches on the show, but you said you wanted to end it with them, I would be on board. All right, because Asuka and Sasha's been built up well. Asuka's getting these big wins over them. They look like extreme goofballs, like the stuff they're trying to pull off. They still haven't. There's a lot of different spinning plates with them because they're still doing the tension. We still get maybe a turn, and then next week we get maybe the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane getting those belts back. What do you think of this? Because they main evented the show. They were one of the first big matches in the ring outside of the Heath and Drew segment. I mean, this was the women really stole the night.
Yeah, this match was so good. I don't get tired of watching Sasha. She's one of my favorites. I think she's so great in the ring. And like her and Asuka just have like this great chemistry. And it was a nice surprise to see Kairi because I really thought that she was not going to come back. Like people were saying that she was just going to go with her husband in Japan and she was not, no longer in the WWE. So I don't know if they are going to, maybe she doesn't want to wrestle anymore. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. But I thought the pay-per-view was this week.
So it's another thing to know is this was taped. So this wasn't a live show. So it's worth noting that. And who knows? Maybe she is still done. We don't know that. And maybe that next week, that tag team match is the send-off.
It's canceled.
It's canceled. You guys are staying. You're not going anywhere. So we'll find out. It's a developing story, to say the least. What do you think of Asuka's chances keeping this belt?
I hope she does.
But what do you think? There is a compelling thing there with Sasha and Bayley being this two-man power trip, trying to get over on everyone. Have the women's belts, have the Raw, SmackDown women's singles titles.
Yeah.
They get all the gold. They want the complete set.
I don't think they're going to get it. And I think when they don't get it, that's when Sasha's like, you know what, Bailey? Like, this is it. Now I'm going after you. If I can't get 2 belts with you, I'll just take one of yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be really good.
And the dialogue has been good of Dos belts. You have 2 belts. Maybe I want 2 belts. Like there is like that sense of.
Good. I don't think they need all the belts though. Like no, I don't.
It reminds me of like the jealous friend. Like, oh, you got married.
It's like always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Always a Bailey, never a Sasha. Yeah. Stephen Chambers texting here, bringing up Nikki Cross going nuts.
She was great.
This leads into this week's SmackDown. Nikki Cross calling out Bailey. You think they're going to go with Bliss? Who's the more established star? They go with her tag team partner. I thought this was pretty good, and she got involved. They did a lot of interference things tonight, and they tried to make this one a little bit different. Cross got kicked out of the building earlier in the night. They said, you can't have her in commentary. This wasn't scheduled. You got to get out of here. All right. So, all right. I can't be in commentary. I love Nikki Cross in commentary because she just has ridiculous comments. And so they're really let her be crazy, but not like mean crazy. Just like someone who has too much sugar crazy.
Yeah.
And so they have her pound on the hockey boards out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like they had the hockey boards there. That's a way to do it. I mean, they did several of these, but I thought that was a fun, compelling thing. Also, Randy Orton. Randy Orton is on another level. He is just an evil, evil man. All right. He is going to have the 6-man tag. He's taking on the Big Show. A lot of people think this match is redundant, but if this is just an example of Randy Orton's slow, methodical dialogue being delivered perfectly, I'm on board. Because before the match, he goes to his tag team partners who may or may not break up, Andrade and Angel Garza. And he says, oh, 3rd generation? Oh, you're 2nd generation? Well, then you should know that I can ruin your career. like he's just saying, he's like, you get this together, don't F this up, all right? And they go and have the match, and it's Big Show versus Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders, Big Show, their little goofy thing backstage, but I love what Randy Orton was doing here. He grabs Angel Garza when him and Andrade are jaw-jacking, the tag team partners, and grabs it and pins him up against the ring post, stops the match. As they go to commercial, it says, get your shit together. Get your shit together, or I will put you in the dirt myself. He's what? That is the best into a commercial tease I've seen in some time. Loved it. What did you think of that?
He was so aggressive. It caught me off guard. Next thing you know, all I see is Angel Garza pinned up against something, and Randy's like, listen here, I respect you, but don't you think that I won't end you? And I'm like, oh my God. It was really intense, but I was here for it. I was like, okay, this could possibly lead to maybe a Garza and Randy feud in the future because their parents have both been in the business. So let's see.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared though.
Yeah. It ended up with Randy Orton getting the one. He got a clean RKO on Eric, who didn't see it coming from behind. All the fracas around the ring, but him and Big Show didn't get to touch. I like Big Show almost seeing the RKO come and push him out of the ring. And that's the thing about RKO. It's one of the most protected finishes in WWE. So I do like that. So people tell me a Randy Orton Big Show match in 2020. Oh, why are they doing this? Why do they do this? But the story's there. It's Randy Orton's telling it really well, and I think Big Show's trying to do something different. He's like, I've been a goofy guy for a long time. I'm gonna remind you I can hurt you. I'm not hating it. I'm feeling it a little bit, especially this week more than previous. Tracy Ransom bringing this up. I like how the new WWE United States Championship belt looks like. We haven't talked about the new belt. We've been trying to stay on air. I even tried to show you a picture of it while we were streaming tonight. We can't do that. They revealed this. MVP revealed the new look of this title that Apollo Crews has. But Apollo Crews wasn't on the show?
That didn't make sense.
That didn't make any sense. It just was like, no, Apollo is the guy who won that. I get it. You beat him up and maybe you put him on the shelf for a week, and they're going to do Apollo Crews versus MVP, not Bobby Lashley, the guy that MVP is managing. So a lot of weird, wacky things with this. But they pull back the belt. And as the internet says in WrestleZone, they will crap upon the look of a new title and then grow to love it. What did you think of this? It has some winged-eagled elements. It looks like an old political poster from back in the day. Our very own Dominic D'Angelo texted me. It looks like a T-shirt that a team has when they win when they win the Super Bowl or something like that.
Oh no, it looks like the font is very World Series like.
Yes,
that's what the font is like.
It does. The font is very World Series-esque. What did you think of the new title? The new United States Championship. I have a controversial take, and I want to know yours first.
I liked it. I thought it was better. I think it's an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Did we need it? I don't know. But I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was nice.
They changed the Intercontinental title. A lot of people didn't
Mm-hmm.
like the new look of that. I'm fond of it. I'm okay with that. I like things that look regal and have a sense of like pomp and circumstance. United States Championship, big eagle on it, the patriotic look, the kind of rolled banner flag on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit more understated. The old title was just like, boom, here's a flag, and then we're going to say United States on it. This I kind of like it. It looked a little bit modern. I want a better look at it too. The pictures of it were like kind of really bright too initially, but I'm okay with it. I also think it looks better than the Universal and the WWE Championship right now, which are just the big bold WWE logos. All right, so Iridium once again getting knocked off by this beast that we call B Live. Let me see what you guys think here. The guys behind Nikki Cross are crazier than her. Other people texting in saying, "A big Cav, did WWE get the idea for the new look for the WWE Championship from the NWA old school days?" I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. I know a lot of people say it has some old school vibes to it. I've heard a lot of other people say they just want the old school titles to come back. I mean, you can't just bring a title back. Once you retire, I think it's done. But they did bring the Intercontinental title back, so I wasn't too opposed to that. I'm okay with it. I don't know why people freak out so much. They freak out so much when a title gets changed. It is such a big affront to them, and it is such a prestigious looking thing. And that prestige is your prestige, not someone else's prestige. It is a very offensive holy grail type thing. James Espanto Fernando Daguay saying Bailey and Sasha should go full on Ultimo Dragon. Give them all the belts. Yeah, when Ultimo Dragon in the 90s walked out with all the belts. So yeah, plenty of different things going on here. Hopefully Iridium will rejoin me. This has just been a heck of a show to even try and stay on here tonight. And hopefully she'll find me here. Iridium, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I could hear her for a second. There you are, Iridium. You can
There
hear
I
me
am.
now. See, this has been a heck of a broadcast today, hasn't
It's been
it?
an interesting Monday.
I owe you money for the amount of
you know who I blame it on?
for the amount of hop back ons that you've done here.
I blame it on the Monday Night Messiah.
You blame it on Robert DeFios, who's with us tonight?
Yes, I blame it on Robert. I'm gonna text him.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get into that. New title, who cares? I'm okay with it. It's not that big of a deal. But I know you're fond. I know you're fond of Rey Mysterio. I know you're more fond, it appears, of his son, Dominic. All right? And I've heard of this fantasy booking you have for your life of trying to get yourself into the Mysterio family, that maybe if you snuggle up on Dom, that you can become Iridium Fierro / Mysterio. Hi, Mr. Mysterio. Nice to meet you.
Could you imagine that?
I'm teasing. Yeah, it'd be a weird one. So they continue to build this angle with Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens appeared on WWE television for the first time in a long time. We know they had an ankle injury. He had been on TV in the past few weeks. He did reveal that he lost a family member to COVID-19. So some people kind of thought that maybe he was acting like Roman Reigns, saying, I'm not going to be around until this thing is cleared and there's a vaccine. We've seen him on TV this week, and then he's doing a KO show. Know it's going to get violent, throws some office chairs out of the ring, calls out Seth Rollins, calls him out of stuff. Seth Rollins being very Jeff Goldblum, talking to him in a very condescending voice. All right, it was very, very. I was like, oh, I already want someone to punch you in the face. Like, I already want someone to hurt you right now. And they set up the tag team. Rey Mysterio and Rey comes out with Dominic yet again. And every time we see Rey out there, they say they're going to have a tag team match. I'm like, they're not doing Rey and Dominic. When they do KO, they do KO and Rey versus Rollins and Buddy Murphy. And it's a fun match. I really, really enjoyed it. It was outside of Asuka and Bailey in the top spot. I thought it was the best match of the night. And it had a lot of fun, different things. The fun screwy finish, and then he grabs Dominic. I'm going to get your son. I'm going to get your son. And then Aleister Black comes out for the backstage. He got attacked. A lot of different moving pieces here. A lot of supporting players. But they're going with this pay-per-view match, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. An eye for an eye match. This is crazy. What is someone's going to lose an eyeball? Does that mean the match is no DQ? Does that mean you can use weapons? Is there specific weapons that you can use to claw out someone's eye? He said he would do it with his bare hand. An eye for an eye. What do you
I don't
say?
even know what that means. What are I need stipulations. Like,
do they both have to wear eye patches? Do they both have to wear eye patches?
Was already out there with like one eye covered. And he was like, you know what? I think it's only fair, you know, an eye for an eye. And the face that Kevin Owen made was the face that I felt. Kevin was so confused, and I was right there with him.
There was some confusion and concern because the tone shifted. Like, oh, we all support Ray, and Seth is an evil bastard, and he tried to take your eye, and we support you and your son, and that's why Alistair was here. That's why Umberto took your back. Like, all these people getting behind your back, Ray. But now you want to rip out his eye? like everyone's like,
with his bare hand.
Even comment with your hand. You're really gonna get in there. And Dominic did that. He raked Buddy Murphy's eyes. So they're someone may lose an eyeball on this pay-per-view. That's horrific. It is the horror show. So all right, okay. Halloween Havoc comes early. That's real blood and guts, don't you think? WWE doesn't do blood and guts. We got people losing eyeballs. It is
very, very much like that.
But I was thinking, as they do when they have Dominic on TV every time. We've been watching him since he was a kid. When do they do this match with Dominic? When does Dominic get in the ring? Because he's not going to be in NXT. I'm going to say this right now.
No.
Maybe he does his first whatever. He's getting a deal with WWE. Okay. At some point, the goal of this is to get a deal with WWE. I interviewed Rey Mysterio last year. We understand that Rey is working without a contract right now. Everyone said, going to go to AEW, right? Do you think he's going to AEW? Ridian, do you think he's going to AEW?
No, he's not.
All right. He's ending his career in WWE. That is the purpose of this run. He said it to me. I don't think he wanted to do the run he did outside of WWE already, where he went to Japan and he went to Mexico and he did All In. I mean, he was in the main event All In. So he did a handful of very, very big shows. And I think the purpose of the last 2 years, he's been there since September of 2018, is to set up his son and end his career on his terms and set up his son. All right. And this guy's been under the knife many, many times. Looked like $1 million, by the way, too. He very, very great. I think them using him sparingly is great. Like, don't put him out in the ring, do the edge thing, wrestle a handful of times a month, and that's it. I loved it. And I thought this match was really, really fun. I do enjoy the storyline. I do think it's crazy. Someone's going to lose an eyeball. But I want to know, when do they put Dominic in the ring? When does this happen?
I think they're saving Dominic. Like, as long as they can hold out till maybe we start getting a crowd, hopefully, because Dominic got that pop.
Yeah, every time you and I bring up Dominic Mysterio, there was, because and Survivor Series is hardcore wrestling fans that have been watching a long, long time, and we know the name Dominic. We can just say it, and a lot of fans who watch the show know the name. It's because you saw this kid on TV in an angle like 15 years ago, and here he is as like a young adult. And it's clear he wants to wrestle. He got in the ring. He did some moves and stuff like that. He had a full-fledged match. Got beat up by Brock Lesnar. Took a beating from Brock, like a severe one. One of the more memorable angles. So he's taking the ball and doing the things he can. But I do think he could get exposed in a match of not looking like knowing what he's doing. But anyone can at his level of the game. I think do a big angle and go to NXT. And do something. For me, the fantasy booking is Ray wants to have this. He wants his final match to be with his son. He said it to me. That's what he wants. He wants his final match to be in a tag team scenario with his son.
That'd be so
and then
cute.
It's done. Oh,
and then this is when my group comes in.
I'm telling you, the tears that you will cry. Okay, the tears that you will cry when Rey Mysterio ends his career and he takes off his mask.
Oh my God, I'm not ready for it.
And he puts it on his son and says that you are now the new Mysterio.
He's got to have a bigger mask. He's got to have a backup mask.
It'll have flex straps. It'll have flex straps in the back.
I don't think it's gonna fit Dominic.
Dominic is like a foot taller than his dad.
Oh man,
son, get in here. I need you to. Son, get in here. I need you to get something off the top shelf. Can you do that for me?
But you know what? Maybe in the future, you know, Rey Mysterio could come back as like Dominic's manager. Like Rey Mysterio will forever be able to come back and do things with the WWE.
Yeah, and I think Dominic is come on, this guy's set up for it. Like I don't think any of that's bad. And it's a storyline you can tell over a long. They've been telling us now for almost a year and a half. Like I'm into the idea of this. Is
15 years.
But we saw Ray win the United States title, and they thought they were teasing he was going to retire then, and then he loses a belt, and he's going to retire again, and they've been teasing this for a while, and they did it with Undertaker kind of success with this last ride thing, teasing the end, and the end is a great story that you can. I think you should only tell once, unless you have an injury like an Edge or a Daniel Bryan. Then you're like, oh, you got cut off too soon. We want to see you come back. I think Ray ending his career, if we get to have a WrestleMania in Los Angeles, that's a good way to go out. It's a good way to go out if you want to do it, man. If you want to do it. Overall, I enjoyed Monday Night Raw. I thought there was a lot of fun things on this Monday Night Raw. And if the pay-per-view was this weekend, I would have been on board. But I did feel it was kind of nothing moved past a certain point. Everything was kind of short. The pacing makes it a fun watch. Doesn't make it's too tedious. But I do think no match was just bonkers great, I will say this, though. Going to give this show a 7.5 out of 10. A lot of fun stuff. You want to go through the clips? What am I matching you? Am I right there? Can we match up tonight?
Yeah.
We're both going 7.5. All right.
It would have been an 8 if the pay-per-view was this week.
Okay, so if that was like the over the hill push, you would have gave it the 8.
Yeah.
Other stories are following. We got Great American Bash and Fyter Fest coming up on Wednesday, and we have spoilers. We're not going to say what they are. Okay, so spoilers are out. More noteworthy is the one for Keith Lee before we sign off tonight here. Have you seen this? Have you seen what this is?
What is it? I haven't.
We have Keith Lee and Adam Cole in the main event, a double winner-take-all title match. Keith Lee, the North American champion, challenging the NXT champion. Adam Cole's had the title for over a year, so a lot of people think it's time for him to get toppled. So the spoiler gets out. Then we have a WWE trainee saying that, oh, you're hearing this Keith Lee thing. No. All right, because a lot of people think it was spoiled that it went with Keith Lee, and I'm not trying to spoil it for you, because the word we're hearing is that there was 2 different endings filmed.
I did hear this. So
Which makes me think, are you trying to subvert the leak that got out? Are you leaking on the leakers?
Oh, so that's an interesting.
Especially when you're taping this stuff, you can edit it any way you want. They could do anything you want. The ending getting out, does that scare you from watching it or following the show?
No, I think I'll still watch it to see, just what they do. It could be true that maybe they'll take it off of Adam and Adam will finally get called up, because we've been waiting on Adam to get called up for a while now, like since last Survivor Series. So I'm just like, okay, when is he gonna come up, or is he not?
Yeah, and is he coming up with Undisputed Era? Are they coming up together as a group? I think them coming up together as a group would really shake things up on either Raw or SmackDown. I would say coming over. I do think the NXT's, especially in some ways, is far superior to Raw or SmackDown. But that's a whole other story. I feel for WWE. A wrestler posted this. One of the guys that's in Malcolm Bivens' tag team posted this, and it got out there. But then there's another guy saying, "Oh, there's 2 different endings filmed." I'm not putting it past WWE to film 2 different endings.
Oh, I'm really not. I feel like sometimes they just like to test out the waters, and they're like, "Well, let's do 2 just in case." Like, they could change their mind. They rewrite things all the time.
Hey, Vince, we filmed 2 different endings. We're going to show you both of them. Which one do you like? And what's to say they're both not the same finish? All right. So I flubbed. I may have said a name here while we were talking about it, and you may know, but this happened before. The most famous one was, Raw and Nitro were going against each other, WCW. And, Tony Schiavone said, oh, tune over there. Mick Foley's going to win their title. The fat guy we didn't want around here or whatever. That's going to put some butts in seats. Right. And it was just like him coming back for commercial, spoiling the ending of that week's Raw. And this is back when WWE and WCW were going head to head. 500,000 people changed the channel because they knew they were going to get a title change. So I don't know, but in the era of social media, it's nearly a week before the show. I don't know. I don't know if it'll add anything. And also the ratings battle between them is so tight right now. AEW having 2 weeks where they didn't win, they lost total viewership, but they got the demo. The ratings are a very important thing to AEW and AEW fans. They love that.
Oh my God.
Do you think it shifts the ratings? Do you think AEW wins it back this week? Because they got some great stuff this week. You're not getting Jon Moxley and Brian Cage in that long teased title match. That'll be postponed for another week at Dynamite.
That's true. I think AEW might take it again. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't care about ratings because we know how ratings work.
Sure.
Like me watching
It's
AEW doesn't change anything, or NXT
it's
doesn't change anything.
Yeah, both shows are under 1 million. So it's still very competitive, though. I will say,
Yeah.
as someone works in media, it's very competitive. The tricks they were pulling last week with picture in picture, no commercial interruption, the main event.
Yeah,
I
they
do
did
like those
some really
things.
cool stuff with the codes and like, oh, make sure you watch picture in picture because in this commercial we're gonna have this code and you could win this, and it's just
Yeah,
like,
AEW was doing a contest. You could get it like a Zoom call with Jericho. WWE
yeah,
was doing like, no, we're not going to interrupt the main event. Like, you're going
yeah,
to get this main event from beginning to end, and it proved to work. The audience stay with them. I think my thing is, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE wins this week. As if WWE wins this week, and I do think it'll be around the same area that it is. That's just a prediction. I don't mind being wrong here because both shows are really good right now, and they're weathering the storm very well. Besides all the COVID-19 stuff here, I lost Iridian, but I will tell you, you should check out her show with Rest Friends. Rest Friends, her and Teddy are absolutely fantastic. A great, unique perspective on the world of wrestling, and if she can pop back in, she can sell it for you here in just a second. It's well worth it. It's available on Spotify. It's available on YouTube. They've done
that's
some
so
very,
sweet,
very fun
Kev.
episodes with their other Rest Friends. It's the joyful get-togetherness of, hey, remember we went to this one thing and you did this great art for me. The other artists who did all their graphics on recently, I really enjoyed the episode. It's like getting together and having fun kiki with your buddies, talking about wrestling. Very good, strong female take on wrestling, which I think is needed in the world, especially nowadays. Is the wrestling world is not what it once was. I'm putting over Rest Friends here.
I'm
Enjoy
listening, Kev. I'm crying.
All right, you're not crying. Don't oversell for me. All right. Tell me about the most recent episode of Rest Friends that you guys just put up.
Yeah, so I have a makeup tutorial up this week, something different. I did Hikaru Shira's makeup, and I did a makeup of the Ultimate Warrior too, like when we originally started Rest
I
Friends.
love that one.
So
I was a big fan of that one.
I remember you talked to me about like, oh my god, if she did this and she did that, and I was like, Kevin, I didn't know you watched my makeup tutorial.
No, I was like, I know makeup tutorials are apparently something that YouTube says I have to watch when I pull up YouTube. Me as a 37-year-old, just regular dude, really, it is just it. I watch a lot of YouTube. You guys really want me to watch makeup tutorials? Like YouTube, I don't know who's running there. You guys are just like, hey, oh, you like wrestling? But seriously, what about this new foundation palette?
Try makeup.
Yes, so there is a marriage of those things in YouTube, though. But so this new this new look for Kirishita, tell me about the look. Was it hard to put together?
It was a little complicated because she does very simple makeup, and I go a little over the edge. So I tried to. That's why I say it's inspired by her. It's not exactly her look. But I think I had fun with it. And yeah, you mentioned our previous episode where we talked with our graphic designer. And yeah, it's just, she's a woman too. So we're all women at Rest Friends. We're here. It's like you're having like a good old time. You're just gossiping, a good cheesemate, talking about wrestling,
a lot of
having a good time.
A lot of hot goss, boiling hot goss, keeping the stove hot. And there's certainly a lot of things going on outside of the world of wrestling. We've had speaking out. That's kind of I wouldn't say simmered down. We don't have nearly as many accusations and different things like that. I haven't been able to talk to you since we got the news about WWE's response and the different things that they've done with NXT UK. They've released certain people. They've investigated certain people. Yeah. We're kind of in this other stage of it now. We're looking really at the punitive stage. Who's going to be brought to court? Who's going to lose their job? Maybe who's going to clear their name? There's several guys who are trying to clear their name right now and say that they're out of it. Jay Lethal from Ring of Honor came out and said, like, hey, this is an allegation that's been against me for years, and I've been able to say that this isn't true. Matt Riddle continues to fight his, and the accuser of it put some things out on the internet that made a lot of people dispute whether or not those accusations were true. So now we're in this other stage where people are either going to clear their name or we're not going to really care if they're in wrestling anymore. Isn't that the point we're at? I'm just kind of trying to gauge it. Maybe you have a better take on it right now.
No, definitely. That's kind of where we're at this point. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with some people. We know like Jimmy Havoc from AEW, he was sent to rehab. And when he comes back from that, They're kind of figure everything out. Sammy Guevara said some things, and he's doing sensitivity training. He put a YouTube video out apologizing because he said something about Sasha Banks, and Sasha Banks put out a statement. So there's a lot going on. But I think it is kind of now we're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with all these people, because, you know, Matt Riddle says something and then the accuser says something else and posts screenshots, and you're just like, whoa, so what's happening?
The Riddle situation, the more it comes out, the side he's taking is, this is a relationship I had with someone outside of my marriage. And obviously that doesn't make anyone look particularly great. But he has established that WWE is aware of this. That I told them about the situation, that this was going to come up and this could be something. And he was on SmackDown, had a featured 2-segment match, and is still very much featured. So at this point, I'm hopeful that WWE has vetted the situation to say, like, all right, we believe this. In other ways, there's other people where they found things like, you're gone. All right, we saw this. You're out of here, especially over NXT UK. Now, there's other people who are going to say, oh, if you're more prominent, we're going to make these exceptions, and then morally, we aren't actually backing up what we're going to say. But the word we're hearing, and this is more from everyone we know at WrestleZone, sources we have, and all other wrestling websites, is WWE is being very, very serious about this in terms of different people. We know that Impact Wrestling has responded swiftly to this. They released Jake Christ, I believe Dave Christ, excuse me, and then also Michael Elgin was released from the company for relations to sexual misconduct allegations.
Yeah, Joey Ryan.
Joey Ryan seems to be the worst. There was the most in terms of people we followed. I believe at one point we recorded 13 to 12 different individual things that he was accused of, and that's one where I'm just like, how are you not in jail? How are you? So that's the point I think we're at now, is we're going to start hearing about the legal side of this stuff coming together.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's my hope too. Like, people getting fired out of wrestling is kind of secondary. I know that's the one thing that wrestling fans are going to follow, but when do people start going to jail who did things? People who are bad and said mean things to you. Yeah, Sammy Guevara, you're going to pay your price, and maybe Sammy Guevara never gets to be a main eventer. This is maybe something that fans don't forget. Some fans don't forget that stuff. A lot of fans in Canada are still very mad about 1997 Montreal Screwjob. There's still a lot of fans who are still very, very angry about that. So there are some people who will have a taint on their career. I don't mean to be brief about it, but I know you've been fantastic with your perspective on it, and that is important to us. And I want it to be known that is really, really important to us. That is, I don't want to tolerate this crap anymore. Like, we really don't. And I can say this on the other side of WrestleZone. We'll see things in the comments, and when we catch him, we'll go through. And if we haven't seen him yet, we'll go through them, we'll catch him, we'll clean him up. And if you have anything, don't be afraid to shoot us a DM and let us know, like, hey, this doesn't make me feel comfortable. I just want to come to the site and read the stuff and hear something in the comments section that I don't like. And everybody gets to come to wrestling. Everybody gets to choose a babyface and a heel and cheer, and there is no problem with that. And I don't know at what point there's this idea that some people can't be fans. Stop it. Seriously, dude. Come on. 2020. All right.
We're all nerds, okay? We all enjoy it.
A lot of people turned over from the E channel. They watched Total Divas and like, oh, these gals are in wrestling. They started watching wrestling. Okay, if you've kind of seen the pattern the last 10 years, all right, you go to a WWE show. You and I noticed this. The last 3 WWE shows I've gone to, and I see you. I was like, a lot of ladies here, a lot of women here. All right, a lot of kids. All right, there's a lot of dudes. All right, a lot of dudes, a lot of lady dudes, a lot of little kids. I'm okay with it. I don't know what the problem is. So, and if you have a problem with it, I think you just have a problem with life, and that's a whole other conversation. So, I want to say thank you to everyone who stuck with us tonight. We've had a bunch of I can't even speak. A bunch of difficult technical issues today. So thank you guys so much for doing it. Once again, Rest Friends available on Spotify. The podcast available on YouTube. And that is Rest Friends with a W in front of the rest, not Wrestle Friends. We've got a lot of people who get confused with that. So go and search for them and find your Rest Friends where you can. I am on air on 101 WKQX. You guys can listen to us anywhere in the world on the iHeartRadio app, on TuneIn, all that good stuff. We are giving away $1,000 stimulus. You can win $1,000 at our website, 101WKQX.com. Go there, sign up for it. That's right. You can win it. It is a national contest, not just isolated to Chicago where I'm on air.
Wow.
So thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We will be back tomorrow. Iridian, you are a trooper, man. You've gotten back into the ring here. You've been thrown over the top rope a handful of times here. But you kept getting back in there.
I cannot be eliminated, Kev. I am here. I want the belt.
Not the United States title.
Not the United States title.
All right. When watching wrestling, please remember the most important thing about wrestling is, oh man, it's been a hard show. It's been a hard show.
Oh man,
Help me
it
out
has been
here.
a hard show, but you have to enjoy wrestling and enjoy WrestleZone.